Hello, welcome. We're not going to talk about any of this stuff. In fact, I got to read most of this stuff still. But what we are going to talk about is what I promised a couple weeks ago. I made a video where I'm like, yo, stories should end. And I was like, hey, I'm going to try to follow this up with some actual numbers and things to indicate quantitatively why that's true. And now you're looking here and you're like, Elizibar, that's the theatrical poster for Hellraiser. You are correct. And you're going to be like, that's not a comic book. You are also correct. However, it is one of the most dramatic examples of what happens when a story goes on for too long. Okay? It also has a comic book, which we'll take a look at here in a second. So let's just pop in here. The first four movies were released in theaters. The second to most recent one also had some kind of theatrical run, but it made like 400 grand, so I didn't bother plotting it here because, come on, its line would be like right down here. You know, like we can pencil it in for you, all right, if you really care. So something like, I don't know, whoop, there you go. There it is for you. So the first movie made 14 million, and keep in mind, as time goes on, money gets devalued. So this bar is really a fair bit higher, somewhere up here, than these other bars. In fact, with inflation, this bar is probably at the same height as that bar. Anyway, first movie, 14 million. Second movie, 12 million. Third movie, it's like 12.5 million. Fourth movie, 9 million. All right? You just kind of want to draw like a line. It just goes whoop. Okay, that was a terrible line, but you get the idea. It goes, whoosh. I should have recorded this on my tablet. Then I could actually draw in a good line. Drawing with the mouse is hard. But that's where we're at. That is where this franchise is at. All right, by the end of four movies. Now, there's a lot more movies in the franchise. And I've seen all of them. Heaven help me. Oh, Lord. So yeah, the first four movies, and you can see like the fourth movie, Bloodline, which is kind of a mess, is well, not that great. The fifth movie and the sixth movie, I don't remember which one is which. They're kind of the same thing. The seventh movie has the dumbest name ever, Deader. The eighth movie has the benefit of having Lance Henriksen in it, and that's literally the only redeeming thing about it. The ninth movie is about like these two best friends who go to Tijuana, party too hard, kill a girl they were banging, open up the puzzle box, and only one of them comes back from the trip. Judgment was a really, really strange movie. I kind of liked some of the things it was doing, and I think with some polish, it could have been a really fascinating film. Probably shouldn't be in this franchise, though. And then there's the reboot from like 2 years ago, which is an okay movie. I think the IMDb ratings for like the first two movies are a little lower than they should be, but most of the rest of these feel about right. I also pulled up the Rotten Tomato critic scores because they're even more freaking dramatic. They're also wrong about this last movie over here. That is so, it is not on par with the first one. The first one's like up here, and this one's probably in the right spot. Two is actually higher than that. Two's a fun movie. We'll put two like here. But all the rest of them, yeah, I kind of agree with this. 3 is a hot mess. 4 is a hotter mess. These other ones are just like, what am I even watching? So what happened? This happens a lot in franchises, especially horror movie franchises. They eventually shrink, like, they get made just for like a super niche audience of the people who liked the previous movie. Or they go like the Texas Chainsaw or Halloween 5 approach and they become a parody of what the franchise is about. It happens. Every one of these franchises. Now, to tie this in with comic books, here is Clive Barker's Hellraiser comic book, which super prestige format. 50th in units, 5th in dollars, okay? This is from October 1989. All right? Now, if a series is good, especially here in the 80s, if a series is good and it has legs, then you can go month after month after month after month printing these books and maintain your position. Look at this. Wolverine 19, number 5. Batman 442, number 2. X-Men 256, number 3. These products were consistently good. They had consistent quality, like quality production values. They had consistent writing, consistent art. In fact, this is back when a lot of these books were just drawn in the house style. So you'd have different artists come in, they would embellish it a little bit. But Spider-Man was always recognizably Spider-Man. Superman was always recognizably Superman. Alright? Now this is a movie tie-in. I forget the exact year that the first Hellraiser came out. It was like 88. So it's around this time. It was 88 or 89, something like that. So we're not out of the ballpark. Like, it's still got some cachet. Boy, I hope I'm right about that. Hold on, we got Wikipedia open. We can look this up. 87, so this is 2 years later. Holy moly. I didn't realize this was 2 freaking years later. And we're number 5 in terms of dollars moved. Number 50 in terms of units. Fast forward a couple of years. Alright? So where do you think it is? Oh, there it is. Issue number 11 is 120th in terms of units moved. Not 50th. Now, it's probably still doing okay in terms of dollars. But in terms of units, not nearly as good. Stories should end. When they don't end, you lose your core audience because they grow up and they move on. And you're generally not bringing new people in because you start at some point making your product for the people who are already interested in your product and not trying to bring new stuff in. One thing that the reboot did for the franchise is it kind of revitalized it. It kind of brought new viewers in, people who hadn't seen the old ones, and if they're lucky that they never had to watch Revelations, or especially Deader. That was the dumbest one of them all. How its Rotten Tomatoes score is higher than the one after it, I don't know, but hey, that's life. But stories should end. The quality drops off. The reception drops off. The money drops off. It's a rare thing for somebody to be able to keep producing a product over and over and over again and keep making money. Brian Pulido's figured that out. Marvel and DC used to know how to do that with their franchise characters, their flagship characters. They used to be able to pull in good money consistently. But now if you go look at units sold, they ain't there. The big 3 in manga, they're the big 3 because they have figured out how to consistently keep pulling in money, keep producing the same quality stuff, and keep the franchise alive, keep the fan base healthy and growing. They figured out how to do that. Most stories can't do that. Most stories should end at some point. Because if you don't, you end up down here, eventually. Hopefully you get canceled before you completely run stuff in the ground. But a lot of people don't know when to cut their losses because they keep making books. They keep making movies. They keep making TV shows. Another great one to look at is like the slow death of the RoboCop franchise. What a mess that is. Maybe we'll talk about that some other time, because I was playing RoboCop earlier. I've seen all 3 movies, the cartoon, some of the TV show, some of the TV miniseries, and of course the reboot movie, which is okay, but it wasn't a RoboCop film. I have to imagine the critical arc of the movies follows a pattern just like this. In fact, it's probably even steeper because RoboCop 2 was kind of a stinker of a movie. But I digress. Stories should end at some point. They really should. Because you can just make something new and suck people in and get them to love it. Anyway, you all take care of yourselves. You have a great one. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hope to see you again next time. Bye-bye.